Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome inside the weekly Sports Lunch and Chat. Justin Rose with you, as always. Adam Straczynski joining me today from Detroit Sports Podcast. Bro,
what's up, man?
What's happening, man? Really good weekend of Detroit sports. Max White is here as well. Max, if I wouldn't give you a little plug, you know,
I appreciate
he probably
it.
wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the day. He's as moody as
I am not moody today.
He's as moody as a pregnant cat.
I'm not moody.
It's very up and down.
Very, very up and down. It's a
nothing
roller
moody.
coaster ride. Hey, it's tough being 22 years old. I know.
23.
23 years old. He just moved into his new apartment. He's getting his life together. Just the ebbs and the flows.
I'm not moody today.
It's just
my Friday. Why would I be moody about my Friday?
I don't know, but look at that coif. His hair is perfect
That
today.
is perfect.
Wow.
That's
like
from the wind did that.
That
Driving
is
with the wind.
that
Windows
Gone
down
with
on
the
way to
Wind
work.
is right. We're gonna have to put you on camera at some point because the people need to see that. So, basically, if you haven't watched this show before, welcome. If you're a returning member, welcome back. Basically, what we do is we talk for the next hour about all things Detroit sports related. Plenty of playoff topics today. The Tigers as well. We'll get to pretty much all three of those over the next over the next hour. So we want you to get involved on this streaming app that you are watching right now. There's a little comment section underneath that. Throw your name in there. Throw your question. Adam and I will get to all sorts of different topics. But the one question we're kind of throwing vaguely out there, as we'll talk about the whole hour. Who has a better chance of winning their first playoff series, the Pistons or the Red Wings? Now, clearly the Red Wings are already 3 games in. We kind of know where they are a little bit, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to discuss. I thought I knew where they were. Now I don't know. I don't know who. Now I don't know where they are. And the Pistons played the Cavs very, very tough on the road in Game 1. Kind of punched them in the mouth. Didn't finish, but does that bode well for them in the future? So we'll get to those topics. We'll also talk about the Tigers start. 7-4. Can't complain with that. No. With as many games as they played on the road and different things like that. So get the questions in as we continue to go about here. Share the link with your friends and coworkers, and let's get started. So, Adam, let's start with the Red Wings. Last night, I went down to the game for the first 2 periods before I had to come back here, and the Joe was as electric as it's been in a long time. I just felt that the Red Wings played a different level of hockey, and I'm wondering now if we're going to go back and talk about the changes that Blashill made. They were significant. They were very, very significant for what we were dealing with. Oh, no light? We don't want the light? Oh, now we dimmed the light.
Dim the light.
Now you went in front of the camera. You can't cross the stream. You can't cross the stream. This is Ghostbusters, man. Comes in here, dims the light, walks in front of the camera. This is what is this? This is a rinky-dink operation we got going on. I can't close the door. My God, what is happening here? What is happening here? Now my train of thought completely off track. But no, Blashill made some changes. Adam, do you remember what those changes were?
Subbed in Brendan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Took out Kyle Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
Did a monster move by changing his goaltender, which, if you ask me, I didn't think Howard needed to be subbed out. I thought Howard was playing well enough. I don't think you lost those 2 games because of Jimmy Howard.
You didn't.
But then he makes a big, bold move by putting Peter Mrazek in for Jimmy Howard. And then he mixed up the lines. He did all kinds of different line combinations, which seemed to spark this team and really worked well. So Blashill kind of got a little ballsy there and went bold, went real bold. Took out his starting goaltender, moved his defense around a little bit, and switched up his offensive line combinations, and it worked out beautifully.
I really loved the Brendan Smith move.
Yes.
I mean, there was no
That paid dividends within the first 5
there
minutes
was
of
no
that game.
more impactful player on the ice than Brendan Smith was at certain times of the game. He was solid defensively. He had some big hits, and he got in the face of guys and kind of got them off of their game, and that was huge.
Every single shift he was on the ice, you knew he was out there. He was doing something impactful, whether it was drawing a penalty, laying a guy out, being responsible with the puck. When was the last time you could say Brendan Smith was responsible with the puck in his own zone? It's been a while.
It has been a while. And I think the part of that is that he was benched for the first 2 games for a lot of the things that you just said. He wasn't maybe playing physical enough. He wasn't having enough puck control in the defensive end. He wasn't. When you take away a guy's playing ability because he's not good enough or it all changes the way that he thinks about doing things. So I really liked that. I just did a Michael Jackson GIF and I got really excited about it. So that's totally fun. So Brendan Smith comes in, makes a huge impact. I think the whole Peter Mrazek thing and why they put him in, I believe that Blashill just wanted to jolt the whole team. And that is, I'm sure he had a conversation with Jimmy Howard, said, Jimmy, look, this is not a personal slight. This is, you have been playing great. And I'm only going to say that 2 of the goals that they scored on them in the first, how many goals have they scored against them now? 8? 5 in the second game, and then they won 3?
3, yep.
Yeah, so 8
and one
goals.
of those goals was an empty netter. So
Okay, so out of the 7 goals, I'm going to say 2 were on Howard.
Right. And
Like-
the main one was him overplaying the goalpost.
Right,
And
exactly.
was like on the other side behind
totally
it.
on the other side. I can't get mad at him for that because that wasn't his issue.
I don't think that was a change that needed to be made, and I don't think it would have made a difference last night either. I mean, they
did block 14 shots. The Lightning only had 16 shots
16
on net.
shots on
That was their best
they blocked
defensive
14.
effort that they
Yes.
put forth in a long time, not since probably that Philadelphia game. And you know what? Sometimes it's just subbing out your goaltender. The guys play a little bit different in front of other guys. And the one thing that Peter Mrazek brings that Jimmy Howard really doesn't is that ability to be trusted with the puck in and around the net. You know when he's got the puck on his stick, he can make magical things happen. I mean, you've seen him basically win an overtime game when it was 3-on-3 by coming out and playing the puck up to, I believe it was Gustav Nyquist. This was earlier in the season. But he does things just a little bit differently. And I think that gives the guys in front of him that much more confidence. So they're not afraid to go out and do things and play a little bit differently, take more chances. And maybe that, in turns, they play a little bit more responsibly in their own end.
They certainly did. And the one thing is how many times did we see the Red Wings fail to clear the zone that led directly to Tampa Bay goals in the first 2 games? The ability to get, now, there were still a couple of leaks in the dike where, they kind of tried to flip it, oh, no, and then they went back. Now, they blocked the shots that they ended up taking or got in the lanes and the passing lanes and stopped them from getting good quality chances. But those were the odd man rushes because the wings are all going, and then one guy doesn't get it out, and it's going the other way, and it's a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1, and that's what set up all those one-timers that the Lightning were capitalizing on. The one other thing I didn't even realize this until I saw it on the broadcast last night. The Red Wings have the 2nd best home record since February 1st in the NHL.
Oh, I didn't know that. I did not catch that yesterday in the broadcast. I think I got up to go.
Can
wash
you
dishes
believe
or
that? Maybe it's in the Eastern Conference. Let me just rewind a little bit. But still,
But
for
either
their
way,
own conference.
either way.
Now Pittsburgh.
That's how important home ice is.
That's right. And we did see that in this series last year. Tampa Bay had the upper hand and had the extra home game. So I have now changed my thinking. My question to you out there, Max, if you want to tweet this out there, has your expectations changed of this series for the Red Wings after Game 3? For me, absolutely. Because it's a team that you just totally shut down after being shut down. The Red Wings weren't completely shut down by Tampa in the sense that they were completely and utterly dominated. There was flashes in the first 2 games where I thought the Wings could catch a break, and they just didn't. The puck didn't bounce their way. We talked about that in our own hockey sense. Hockey is a game where if the puck bounces your way, you're going to get a lot more chances to score.
Get a little puck luck.
Get a little
you
puck
get some
luck.
dirty ones around the net.
Exactly. Henrik
Everything's
Zetterberg's goal, total puck luck.
Yes,
Really. I mean,
exactly.
if it deflects off a skate out of the net, that's no goal. Yep. And there's plenty of different things. They didn't call the goalie interference. It wasn't anyways, but it could have. Those are the types of things that can go against you, and if they do, you're going to have a harder time winning. I have now seen this team dominate defensively. If they're only allowing 16 shots on net, now the Red Wings have a hard time scoring. That's true. But if they're only allowing 16, not even really great chance. There was only 4, 5, 6 chances of those 16 shots that were good scoring chances for Tampa Bay. I really like the chances of the Wings moving forward.
So do you think that the Wings are going to win in 6 games?
I picked
5
them to
games?
win in 6. Remember when when we had our 3 of us did predictions? You
right.
said Wings in 7.
I said Wings in 7.
I said Wings in 6. He said Tampa in 6.
Right.
Tampa in 7.
Oh, Tampa in 7.
But I said the Red Wings would start 2-1, so I was way wrong about that.
Oh, just a game off. Not too bad.
Well,
You're
yeah,
right.
but it was. I figured they would.
I'm just trying to be nice to you so I don't chastise you and you cry. And
Here's Joachim Anderson only had 5 minutes time on ice yesterday.
But he was another change.
Impactful.
And the
he
thing
was
is,
impactful when he was out there.
Andreas Athanasiou only had
deal.
7 minutes and 33 seconds of ice time in Game 2. Wasn't really that productive. He only had 8 minutes and 50-some seconds in yesterday's game. Whoa, that move.
Still impactful.
That move that he made?
That's the thing.
Holy smokes.
When these guys are out there, I wish they would get more ice time, But when they're out there, they're making the most of it, and that's what counts, and that's what's important.
I want Athanasiou to get more ice time. I don't want Joachim to get more ice time.
I think everybody wants Anthony to get more ice time.
But, I mean, I just don't know how he doesn't get more ice time, because then your next, the next guy with the least ice time is Thomas Tatar with 12.5 minutes of ice time. Or, Alexei Marchenko with 11 minutes of ice time.
Blashill's playing Pavs in Zetterberg basically every chance he can get.
But I
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think you're going to end up burning them out, and I don't think they're as effective offensively because he's just playing them way too much. You got to play a guy like an Anthony Ciu, play a guy like Larkin, play those guys a little bit more. Play Riley Shahan. He's a big guy, and he has shown throughout the course of the season that he can score the puck when given the opportunity.
Right.
So I think the big deciding factor in yesterday's game wasn't just the changes, it was the fact that they came out and they looked like they played faster and they played heavier on their sticks. They were throwing the body around and they weren't getting bullied off the puck. And that was something that happened those first two games that really helped sway that series because, again, like you said, in their own zone, they're getting bodied off the pucks in the corners, they're getting forechecked and they're turning it over, and that right there resulted in a few goals throughout the course of those first two games.
Right.
This game last night, you didn't see that happening. You're right. There was a couple times where they tried to clear their zone. They just didn't get it out. But it didn't turn around and bite them in the butt because they were right back in front of those guys, and they were either blocking the shooting lane or they were bodying them off the puck and taking it and then going back up ice.
Really liked how the switch turned on. And I think that Blashill is a good coach. I really do. I don't think that this is a guy that's going to be even sniffing the hot seat for a few years. I really do think that he's going to figure this team out. And he has. I think his players are the ones that are taking their sweet time getting into the system. But all he had to do was walk into the room after that game and go, see, what am I telling you? You get in the passing lanes, you body up, you don't let guys get behind you. Do the game plan, and when you do it right now. Brad Galley's down at Red Wings practice today. They're probably doing an optional skate. It's mostly just guys coming to the podium and talking on the off day. Brad Richards, quote, "We still haven't done anything. We won a game that doesn't do much in a 7-game series."
He's looked good. He's looked good these first 3 games.
So
Brad Richards has shown up. He has played physical, and he has scored a timely goal when they needed it. That power play is absolutely dreadful, though.
Yeah.
I feel like this series could be totally different if they could sit there and muster some points on that power play. They had a 5-on-3 yesterday, and all they did was they passed the puck back and forth to each other. Just take a shot. Well, crazy things happen when you throw the puck at the net.
I will defend them in the sense that I know everyone wants shots on net during the 5-on-3. I said something like, when I tweeted it out, I just said, if they don't get a goal in this 5-on-3, I mean, that doesn't bode well for them winning this game/series. And it's true. I mean, Max, what's the number on their power play? 1 of 17? 1 of 15?
You're putting me on the spot here.
Their power play is dreadful.
They were 1 of 14
series.
At one point. I think they ended up getting 2 more power plays. So it might be 1 of 16, 1 of 17.
I don't like the whole shoot the pucks on net because Bishop gets better. There's more shots on net. I think I texted you during game 1, and I'll have to go back and look at this real quick. But they had 30 shots yesterday. That was the first time. I know I was texting Brad about it. There was the first time that Bishop has lost in a while with more than 30 shots. So this is my first check stats from after game 2. But Ben Bishop is 24-3 when he faces 30 or more shots this season.
Wow. Okay.
So that was 21-4-3 after game 2. Now he is 21-5-3 facing 30 or more shots. I mean, I don't want the Red Wings to throw the puck on net.
So what are you saying? You want 15 shots and hope they win?
No, I'm not saying that. I just think, you get the more shots he faces, the better he gets.
I think that
I see it totally different.
You want quality. Look, Ben Bishop is what, 6'4"?
No, he's 6'7".
Oh, he's 6'7", and
With
on
skates
skates
on,
he's
like
6'9", 6'10".
Close to 7 foot.
I mean, he's a
skates on.
monster. He covers up so much of the net that you have to move the puck around and get shots, and you see it. I wish we could show highlights right now because I could pull up 3 or 4 different shots that you have to shoot up high in the chest, and you have to get him kind of off balance, and you have to get him moving from side to side. You can't just waltz in and fire a shot, and that's what Max is saying.
Yeah.
I am agreeing with Max on that. Now, the scouting report on Bishop is to get the puck on him high so that the rebound comes down somewhere, and you can get that second chance. But I think Max is right. I think that the Red Wings, look, I'm with you. I'm with both of you. You're both not right. You're not wrong. You're both right in a certain way because you want to get more shots on net, but you don't want to get him enough shots. These little dinky little. Oh, I just got a shot on net to get him so in the zone that he's just seeing everything, and the puck looks like a beach ball. And then all of a sudden, he stops everything and he becomes the lights out guy he became last year. I haven't seen Ben Bishop really be that. I mean, he's been good. He's been solid, but he's not. Remember last year he stole 2 games.
He's just massive. That's the thing. He's a very large guy. Like he's not fat. He's just big.
He's just
tall.
He just consumes space.
Exactly. That's all it is.
That's why. So I think the shots need to be. I think they need to be crashing the net.
They do. The thing is, if you throw them at his feet, he tends to struggle and he bobbles more pucks. Watch the game. Next time you watch when they throw the puck towards his feet or at his stick. He bobbles the puck all the time around his feet. So you got to get shots low on him, and then you crash the net because he gets out of position. And he trusts his stick, and he trusts playing the puck more than he really should. He is not like Peter Mrazek, and he's not like Martin Brodeur, where he can come out and he can fiddle around with the puck and move it up. He's horrible like that. He turns the puck over all the time. He's atrocious trying to move the puck. And on top of that, it leads to rebounds. If they just sit there, you get a couple big bodies. You get a guy like Abdelkader. You get a guy like Riley Shahan. You get some of these guys to crash the net, chip it in. I mean, that's pretty much how Zetterberg's goal was scored. It was a shot that went a little bit wide, came back, and you're right, little puck luck off the foot, and next thing you know, it's behind him. So you're right, you got to get him moving side to side. I think you shoot the puck more at his feet, though, because he just doesn't do a good job controlling those rebounds when they're a little bit lower, and you just got to get in on him.
For me, I think it's harder to get the puck to the net when you're trying to keep it low. Especially in the playoffs, these guys are diving, they're blocking shots left and right, and that's just a problem. Here's an interesting stat from Buchagras, John Buchagras from ESPN. Red Wings are 3-0 at home versus the Lightning this season, including the playoffs. Neither team has won on the road in the season series.
And I don't expect either team to win on the road
going forward.
I mean, I think that this series is going to come down to another Game 7 because you can't convince me that the Wings are going to come out flat on Tuesday night. You just can't. They're saying all the right things today, but they know what they can do now. They've seen it, and when you see that success,
is important. It allows you to match up guys. They totally shut down the Johnson line yesterday.
That was big.
Limited them to 0 shots. I mean, that's huge. This guy's been killing the Wings every single game that they play. It doesn't matter if it's regular season or playoffs. You can go back to last year, he murdered them. They totally shut him down and took him out of his element. You've seen it as they were going to the bench. Darren Helm, I think it was Kucherov and Johnson, all got into this giant shoving match. And then 2 guys went and sat in the box. Helm and Kucherov went and sat in the box while Johnson went and pouted. And he was taking stupid penalties yesterday as well. He was sitting in the box. Once you get him off the ice, that's the best place for him if you're a Wings fan.
This is great. So we got to get into the Brian Boyle, Justin Abdelkader thing.
I do want to talk about that. I'm glad you bring
Max,
that up.
Our questions looking right now. Do we got anything that we need to get to?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
We'd love your questions, though.
Yeah, get your questions in. But we got to talk about this Brian Boyle end of the game. So end of the game, it gets a little chippy, of course. This time it's the Lightning trying to get a little even because they're frustrated that they had a bad game. And Brian Boyle and Justin Abdelkader are locked up, and Brian Boyle's taking a couple of cheap shots as the ref's trying to separate them. Abdelkader can't drop his gloves. Apparently, Darren McCarty told me last night, and you could see this for yourself on WXYZ.com, the interview I had with Darren. He came in and helped break down the game last night. But apparently, Abdelkader had his hand taped up.
He did.
And according to the rules, you can't fight if you have taped up hands or something like that.
If you draw blood with tape on your hands, you either get a match penalty, and then you have to sit the next game, or you're booted from that game. Since it happened at the end of the game, he'd have been suspended for Game 3 or Game 4.
So Abdelkader looks at the ref and goes, "Let this happen.
Yeah.
Give me the green light to fight him."
He was shaking his glove off like this, like, "Can I hit him? Can I hit him?" And he's showing him the tape on his stick.
And the ref was in the middle saying, "No, we're ending this." And of course, Abdelkader takes a couple of rights from Boyle. And so when they finally separate, Boyle skates off doing the chicken dance. And I got a great Jeff Rieger from 97.1. Glendenning believes Boyle's antics at the end are blown out of proportion. Quote, "It's a hockey game. It's not a dance-off." I hope they play the chicken dance at the Joe on Tuesday night. That'd be hilarious.
That'd be great.
When Brian Boyle gets a penalty, which I'm sure he will be drawn into getting a penalty on Tuesday night, if he's going to the box, don't play that dun 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 dun. Play the chicken dance, please. I got to go find the guy who's in charge of the music there because I'm going to tell him.
It'll be great.
You got to play the chicken dance if Boyle gets it because that would be hilarious. Very, very good stuff. But I like that the Red Wings punched them in the mouth. That's what I wanted to see happen.
I loved the end of Game 2. End of Game 2 was incredible. That's beautiful. It's a nice gift.
I just retweeted the chicken dance.
The end of Game 2, it carried over into Game 3, and usually there's not a huge carryover between games. That carried over into Game 3, and the Wings took full advantage of it. And you could see that the end of Game 2 got underneath the skin of Tampa Bay, so much so that they took a lot of bad penalties early, and at the end, they were looking for some retribution. I mean, there were times where Smith was bullied up against the boards there, and you have guys from Tampa Bay's bench trying to pull him into the bench and throwing punches at him while they're along the bench. And you don't ever see that happen in a hockey game. That usually doesn't ever happen. The guys on the ice take care of business, not the guys who are sitting.
Yeah.
But this rivalry is building, and I think it's great. I think it's a very underrated rivalry.
Very underrated. That's a very good point because remember last year they went to 7, and the Lightning went all the way to the Cup Finals, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
And here they are again, and it's like the Wings' chance to look. No one thought the Wings were going to even make the playoffs. Then they were like, "Oh, this is going to be over quickly." And now it's a chance for the Wings to, there's a lot of good theater that comes with this. A lot of the topics we've been talking about. I love that there's starting to be these little bit of, personal rivalries with guys, and Tyler Johnson being, he's the new Sidney Crosby, if you will, for the Lightning and the Red Wings because no one likes him in Detroit. No one wants him to be successful, but he's so good, and he's just had such a, to sort of shut him down for a game. That's going to motivate Tyler and that line to be like, okay, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna get back in it. So it's just the back and forth is going to be really good. I expect the Red Wings to really take things to another level on Tuesday night again, and they're all saying that now. That's all speak. But I really like that. That's what we're going with it. Max,
Anything?
Nothing from the peanut gallery.
I'm trying to figure out if the question system is working.
Well,
Technical issues.
This webcast usually runs so seamlessly. Wink, wink. Wink, wink. Okay,
there.
let's move on. I guess let's do it real quick. I do want to talk about this. What other changes, if any, does Blashill make in Game 4? Does he shuffle? Does he get Anderson back out of there? Does how does he handle this? Because I think he found a good formula, but every good coach knows that Lightning are going to go, okay, they did this, now we need to do this.
Mrazek definitely starts the next game. I think you have to leave Brendan Smith in at this point. You hope he continues whatever motivated him to play the way he played in Game 3. You have to hope that it continues to motivate him for Game 4. As far as defensive pairings go, I think you leave those the same because it seemed to work. Offensive pairing-wise, I don't know. I mean, every time Joachim Andersen was out there, he was productive. I mean, he helped contribute to that assist for Anthony Ciu. I think you give a guy like Anthony Ciu a little bit more time because his speed really creates some good offensive chances.
Yeah, so I think I'd like to see. I think the fans would too. I mean, there's a great article. Craig Custance from ESPN just wrote a great piece about Anthony Ciu, basically changing the momentum of the series with that change of momentum spinorama that he almost, if he would have scored on that goal would have
blew off the Joe.
But that goal would have probably been remembered for years because of how the degree of difficulty from that goal is. I still can't even wrap my head around it. I mean, I'm sitting in the press box and I was just like, oh, and he had the top corner picked out. He knew where he was going with it, and he would have made that. People would have been freaking out.
I just think you play the younger guys maybe a little bit more. Try to rest Zetterberg and Pavel just a little bit because as much as they've been out there and as productive as they are, they're not what they used to be. you know? So you're...
But is Pavel Datsyuk productive?
I think he forces the other team to be accountable. So do you want to count that as being productive or not? I guess that's up to you. I think that's productive because you don't necessarily have to be on the score sheet to be considered productive. You can do little things that force the other team into bad spots, or you can sit there and you can steal the puck, you can back check, you can do other things that either prevent goals or force scoring opportunities, which then gets the other team on their heels a little bit.
Okay, let's look at by the numbers. Datsyuk, let's see, he's third, fourth, fifth. He's fifth on the team in ice time, and most of the people in front of him are defensemen, which makes sense. There's less of them. 18 minutes, 18 seconds a game. He's got 4 penalty minutes, don't care. He's got a +2, plus-minus rating.
He's got no points, right?
No points, but he has leads the team in shots on goal with 12.
Who leads the team in plus-minus? And what is it?
Henrik Zetterberg at +3.
Right. So he's
There are more Red
productive.
Wings in the negative than there are in the positive.
Exactly. That's because they've scored more goals. But he is almost as productive as, if you go by plus-minus, almost as productive as the leader on this team. Basically, it's a goal difference. So he's not responsible for goals that are being scored on this team while he's out there. So he is being productive. It's just he's not contributing on the score sheet, and that's an issue.
Well, and that's what you need your superstars.
You're absolutely right. That's why I think you need to play him less. Play him a little bit less.
Give Athanasiou and Anderson a little bit more run, maybe another 2 minutes each.
Exactly.
Take 4 minutes away from Pav. Give them that 4 minutes of extra time, and pick your spots to use them. I really think that the biggest thing moving forward is they're not going to win a lot of games if they can't score on the power play. The fact that they are
the biggest thing, it's been the biggest albatross of this team is that power play gets hot in streaks and then it gets ice cold in streaks.
I've seen
and
this
right now
before.
they're ice cold.
I've seen this before.
It's happened 4 times during the season.
No, not with this team, but with other teams. So, so it is, and this is Tony Granato's system. I mean, we've seen it with the Pittsburgh Penguins. When I was in Pittsburgh covering the Penguins, I mean, you have Malkin, Crosby, Letang, and Kunitz. 4 of your 5 guys on the power play are those guys, and they went on a streak of like 0 for 28 in the 2014 playoffs. And everyone is going,
"What's going on?
You got enough firepower for the NHL to play a world team with this group, and you can't score a goal." It's Granato's system and you see it when you watch the Red Wings. Look, of course, the other team packs it in. That's how they have to do it. But the puck movement is so predictable. I think that's the part of it that makes me a little bit more like, try something different, because it's like, okay, we'll pass it down to the slot. We're going to pass it back to the top guy. He'll try the cross-ice pass. No, it's not there. Then he'll go back to the same guy. Then he'll stand there and go, then he'll get it behind the net.
Can we geek out for a minute?
Sure.
Because you're a hockey guy, I'm a hockey guy. All right. Pavel Datsyuk is playing on the left wing with his left shot. So he's got the puck. He has no angle to shoot because he's playing along the end board there. He's got no angle to shoot whatsoever. So they sit there, they walk the puck around the top. They go along the right wing over there. They get that. They kick it back up top, walking around. They kick it down to Pavel. Nobody pressures Pavel because he has no shot whatsoever, because he's so deep down and he's an off shot. He has no angle to do anything with the puck. So he's now stuck with the puck. All he can do is either pass it back up or he can try to wing it around the back. It's just, you're sitting, I'm watching it and I'm like, why are you there? Why are you, like, you're killing this power play because nobody's got to pressure you. Now these other 3 guys can fall back and collapse on the other 4 guys that are out there, and you can just stand there because you're not.
And Bishop's so big that he literally takes up a third of the net just by going up to the post. So he's not going to shoot that shot because all the fans are going, shoot, shoot, and you're going, I'm going from the opposite end, upper deck, going, I don't see it.
There's
no
not
chance
a shot.
He's not going to score. He's going to score
nothing.
here. So what do you want him to do? Shoot it right into his chest so he can cover it? No. Switch. That's what I'm saying. That's where Granato. Now he's on his way out. I understand that he's moving on to Wisconsin. Good for him. But that's where Blashill needs to. His main focus should change to now. Okay, we got to get this power play working. Because we're getting this team in trouble. 0 for 7 in a game. Think about that. Just go 1 for 7 last night. It's a blowout.
Honestly,
think about that. Go 2 for 7, and it's a double blowout.
Over the course of this series thus far, you add maybe 2 more goals, 3 more goals, it's a totally different series.
And the Lightning are going to be able to take advantage of the Red Wings' inability to score on the power play, not only in the scoring column, but they're going to be able to say, okay, we can be more physical, we can be more aggressive, we can afford to take some chances and maybe get caught and get called for a power or penalty because they're ineffective.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if now.
It
that's
allows
why
Tampa Bay to take more liberties with this team.
That's why every time the Red Wings get a penalty, I go, oh boy, because that power play for them, it's not the greatest in the NHL by any stretch of the imagination. It's clicking and it's working and they're scoring goals and they can move the puck and get good quality shots, and that's where it's like, okay, we need to do something. That's where I expect the Red Wings to shift and shuffle things up here as we move forward. So, is it still broken, Max?
It is an email problem. They are not coming to my email like they normally do. They are going to Seth's email, but they are not coming to mine.
And Seth is
busy.
Busy.
Get Seth's email.
He is.
Is that allowed?
He's working on a project right now, so he.
Well, so
wait.
for you putting in your questions and comments, we appreciate that.
See if you can tweet us or maybe comment
yeah,
on our Facebook page.
If you want to tweet at me, JRose WXYZ, I can get to those immediately. Here we go. Terrence got one. The Red Wings are playing better at home. How can Tatar and Nyquist get going in this series? Keep doing what they're doing, because I think that Tatar, if I'm not mistaken, and Nyquist are 2 of the new grind line, or
Yeah,
is it
they've separated them. So I think
Tatar
Tatar was playing with Datsuk yesterday, I believe.
Right.
And Nyquist was centering, I think, the 3rd line.
Who's playing with Glendening?
You have Glendening.
He's playing on the
maybe?
line against
Maybe that is
Johnson.
Nyquist playing with them. Maybe he's playing a wing there?
He's playing. No, I believe.
Well, Glendenning's matching up against Johnson.
Yeah.
But where's Nyquist playing in relation to that? I don't know.
Forelli Sapphire told me to go away. He's an egg. He's got 607 tweets, 13,
Glendening.
Well, he's got
8 followers,
he's got
and
8
13
followers. Well, you know.
So he said, "Go away." I go, "No."
You're killing it on Twitter, bro. You're killing it on Twitter.
No. Here we go. Jordan. She gets in every week. She's a faithful. Justin Applicator brought life to the Red Wings. Big play, finish check, score on the power play, and we will advance. Look, Jordan, you're right. We were just talking about that. The power play is the key to them winning this series, because they're going to have, look, whether you like it or not, the Wings are going to have to steal one on the road down at Emil Arena. I went to the game, too, on Friday night, by the way, in Tampa.
It's Emil?
Yeah.
I thought it was Amali.
It's Amelie.
It's Emily?
Yeah.
I think we all just said
like,
3 different
Yeah,
ways.
we did.
It's the
It's the-
LIE is Lee.
It's the Tampa Bay Lightning Arena.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Amelia?
Amelie. It's owned by the
No!
Amelie Oil Corp. So they do oil. I don't know. They produce gas.
Chris Roberts wants me to
Glendening-
tell Adam that shirt is so fly.
Glendening was on a line.
This is one of my
with-
golf shirts. I was
Look
gonna
at
ask.
this,
I was
it's
gonna,
the shark.
It is the
Oh,
shark. I was gonna
man.
ask Justin if you wanted to go play 18. It's so beautiful out.
I wish I could.
I went and
Glendening
played
was on a
yesterday. Oh
line
my
with
God, my body's so
Sheehan and
sore.
Abby.
With who?
Sheehan and Applicator.
Okay.
Sheehan and Abdicator.
Line 3.
Line 3.
Okay.
Who's on 4th line? Do you have that?
Athanasiou, Anderson, and Tatar.
Okay. All right. Can I tell you what I was screaming at my TV after game 2?
No. Yes.
And I'll try to clean it up because
Maybe.
my wife was standing there and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And there was some colorful language. Anyways, when that brawl broke out and you seen Applicator throwing haymakers, I was pumped. I was so jacked. And I was like, finally, somebody show some heart. Because honestly, those first 2 games, they didn't show any heart. They didn't play like they wanted it.
No.
And finally, a guy shows up and does what is necessary. And basically, I don't remember who he bloodied, but he busted that dude's face wide open. And there were a whole lot of bad words said, and I was riled up, to say the least. And I was excited that Justin Applicator was out there doing what needed to be done. Every now and then in a series like this, you have to do that. You have to take that time, and you have to, whether it leads to a penalty or not, you've sometimes got to get a little dirty, and somebody has to do the hard work. And he did all the heavy lifting right there.
Yeah.
Busting up that dude's face, and then sitting there basically calling all the guys out on that team. You know, you even seen Larkin get in the mix, and it all started with Brad Richards down low. All of it started with Brad Richards, which is another reason why I like seeing Brad Richards on this team. That's one of those free agent moves that Ken Holland has come out and made that is now kind of paying dividends. And we've been really critical of Ken Holland and questioning his free agent moves, and that's a move that's kind of worked out so far.
I was kind of hoping Abdelkader would have gotten suspended.
What?
I thought he played terrible in games 1 and 2.
So you want him to
You want to get suspended?
Well, I just figured.
How about you just bench him for a little while instead of suspending him?
I don't know. I figured maybe if he gets suspended, the team is like, oh man, our player.
This
got
is the guy that
suspended
wanted
when
them
he
to miss the
shouldn't
playoffs because the
I
streak
never
would have been
said-
over, and then they would have been reevaluating
Never said
the
I wanted
entire
them to miss the
franchise.
playoffs. I never said that. I said maybe. I didn't think they would make the playoffs. I'm just maybe then they would have been like, oh, we got to play for our guy who got suspended, all this other stuff.
How'd that work out when Cronwall got suspended? Game 7 there
Yeah,
last year.
I know, I was
It
waiting
didn't
for
really
that.
work out so well.
That
Abdelkader, you
didn't
need
make a
Abdelkader
difference,
out
though.
there, which is why it was so important what he did the end of last night, where he was asking the referee, "Can I bloody his face or no?" And the referee was like, "Absolutely not. You have tape on your fingers.
Yeah,
it's
you're
not going
done.
to work out. You'll get suspended." So playing the long game, which
I mean,
is
it was
great. It's
I
intelligent.
loved-
Here we
Intelligent
go.
hockey's
Here we go.
awesome.
Jeff Blashill just said this. Abdelkader is a great addition to guys like Zetterberg, Datsuk, and Cronwall in the leadership group. Suspend him. Get him out.
He is a leader. I'm not.
Get him out of the
saying he's
game.
not, but
Suspend
he
him for a
played-
game because we
he
don't want
played
him.
So bad in
Oh,
games 1 and 2.
God,
He was a liability in game
he
1.
He was a bull in a china shop, but that doesn't mean that he was terrible. Like, get him out of there, suspend him. Look, Blashill needed to be more authoritative and say, hey, Abby, stop taking bad penalties,
Yes.
man.
Absolutely.
You're killing us.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between saying that and, you know what, go out there and get suspended so I don't have to deal with you. I can't control you. Like, he is a good leader on this team. He's a physical leader on this team because of those listed, Cronwall, he doesn't have it anymore.
Nope.
As far as the physicality that he used, he hadn't Cronwalled anybody since
Smith can hit
1985.
a little bit.
Smith's just a scrappy little dude. I like
it.
him. But
And
you
other
need a
than
guy
that,
like that.
Forward-wise, honestly, your big bodying forwards, it's Abdelkader and Shahan. That's really all you got. Everybody else is more of a finesse player, and they're not going to sit there and cause a lot of trouble. So you need him.
This is
You
a
have
great.
to have
This is a great quote from Blashill too. Somebody asked him about what did it feel like to get your first career playoff win. He goes, first career playoff win. To be honest, or honest to God, I didn't even think about it. Good.
Good.
Get another one. All
Stay
right.
on the streak. Get 4 more.
Thanks
more.
for the tweets, guys. Keep them coming in if you want more. Oh no, Max. Justin is the man. Robbie Pascal.
I tweeted back and I said, here's the deal.
Max needs to be banned.
I
Mute
love
him.
I love Abdelkader. I do, but I was just telling you the thought I had at the time. Am I glad he didn't get suspended? Absolutely.
The only thought I have in my mind is that hair coif you got going on.
Whatever.
That thing is gorgeous. It's like a perfect. I could spend hours in front of the mirror and never
To
perfect that.
Matt Derry, he said that I need
to be banned.
muted.
You need to get suspended.
He's gotta get a muzzle.
He's going to be suspended for
Just
the
get a
next
muzzle
series.
for him.
Get him out. We don't need your leadership in here.
You know,
Except we do need
We
him.
do. We do.
We
gave
do need.
me-
And
you gave
that's
me
the,
so much
you're
crap
you're
when I
just
went
an
on vacation.
applicator.
The show won't run without Max.
Max, you're just an applicator.
fine
We
with being
can't
just
do
an
this
applicator.
without you. So unless you want to get suspended, and then you really put the team in a tight spot.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do? Is that what you want to be remembered for, Max? Putting the team in a tight spot?
I'm trying to tell Matt Derry that I'm the only one that can mute Max. So he said to mute me, but I'm the only one that can mute me.
Can the control room mute him?
No.
Nope.
No.
We don't have that. We don't have that power.
Okay.
We don't have that type
Max
of
is the
power.
only one who can mute Max.
Okay, hey, we got about 25
I'm
minutes
taking on
left.
my new role as the troll of the webcast.
You're the troll of the webcast?
With the Abby comment and saying
Yeah,
the Red
that's
Wings weren't
true.
gonna make the
You're
playoffs.
really working it. Let's move to the Pistons. Thanks for all the Red Wings tweets, but if you got Pistons tweets, let's get those in. We got about 25 minutes left in the webcast. Maybe we'll get to the Tigers if we run out of time on this, but what a great game from the Pistons yesterday. It's funny. I've been watching sports for my whole life, but professionally for about 15 years now, and I really get a good sense of if a team is going to be able to win a game or if they just don't have it that day. At no point in Game 1 yesterday did I feel the Pistons were going to win the game, even as well as they had played. And that's not a slight on the Pistons. It was just, if it would have been a major upset. And I would have been like, wow, I can't believe that they won that game. But that being said, Game 2, watch out, Cavs. Game 3 on Friday night in a packed Palace, watch out, Cavs, because I think that the next 2 games are obviously going to be very, very important as far as how long this series lasts. I still don't think the Pistons are going to be able to win the series against the Cavs in a 7-game series, But give them a scare. Win on Tuesday or win on Wednesday in Cleveland, and then win on Friday and go up 2-1. Oh, that would be so great. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that the way that they played and how well they shot, it was encouraging. I guess I'll use that word.
And I think that's probably the best way you can describe what we've seen yesterday. This is a team that, like you said, at no point did you feel confident that they were going to win that game. But up until I think it was like 5:48, 5:49 left in that game, I thought the Pistons had a legit shot to possibly pull out and do the upset and do the unthinkable and beat the Cavs. At the 5:50 mark, it seemed like Reggie Jackson, his mentality switched a little bit. They go down. There's a play inside to Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond throws up a really weak shot. Next thing you know, the Cavs come down the floor. They kick the ball out to Kevin Love. He hits a big three-pointer. They go back down, and it becomes Reggie ball, where it's just Reggie Jackson, give me the ball, get out of my way, let me take this over and let me do this. And you've seen that down the course of that game. And once that happens, once Reggie Jackson tries to do everything by himself, it becomes the offense stagnates, and it doesn't generate any quality scoring chances. And that's what ended up happening. The very next play, Reggie comes down, and Reggie wants an ISO play. And he takes a really bad shot that doesn't go in. Next thing you know, they come back down. Kevin Love, another three-pointer. All right, so now you're in the hole. They sit there, they come back down, they go back and forth, and next thing you know, Reggie Jackson's calling for fouls and getting teed up himself.
Right.
And at that point, the wheels fell off the cart, and they were never able to get it back because the following play, Reggie comes back down, dribbles the shot clock out, gets stuck in the corner, can't pass it to anybody, and forces up another awful shot as the buzzer goes. So if Reggie doesn't self-destruct, I think the legitimacy for this team to play and win a game is very high. When he sits there and he kind of goes into Reggie ball mode, they're not going to win games. Absolutely not.
Right.
And he was very unselfish, and he played very well for the majority of that game. Up until probably the last 5 minutes, last 6 minutes of that game, he played exceptionally well. Too many turnovers, but he played really well. And I don't know if this team has another gear to sit there to be able to push it, to sit there and get over that hump. Because I don't think the Cavs played all that great either, but they did enough to frustrate the Cavs, and they put themselves in a great shot to win that game up until, like I said, the last 6 minutes.
They showed their inexperience in the playoffs in the last 8 minutes of the game. Really is when it changed. And a 5-point loss, it was really more of a 10-point loss. They got a layup at the end. It was just, it was out of reach with like 3 minutes to go. But I think that the Pistons saw that, okay, Reggie Bullock comes off the bench and hits a couple threes that are huge. He plays really good defense.
Their bench was big.
Stanley Johnson got his first taste of playoff experience. It's encouraging to see them moving forward. And you're dead on about Reggie Jackson, because this is a guy who, he's their max contract player. He wants to be the guy with the ball in his hands. That's fine. How about you do it organically, though? Because we can use you in many other ways. And I'm sure Stan's sitting there going, Reggie, you're the only guy I got with playoff experience, and you're going out there and you're doing really non-playoff experience type things. You're trying to take every shot. You're not trusting your teammates to do what they need to do. You're taking this all upon yourself to be the winner. You don't need to do that. And we've never asked you to do that all season long, and all of a sudden we're going to ask you to do that in the biggest stage?
You know what he reminds me of? Do you remember when they got Chauncey Billups? And I hate to compare him to Chauncey Billups, but Chauncey Billups played really similarly early on in his career. He was basically a shooting guard masquerading as a point guard. He would always be shoot first, pass second, and do everything else after that. And you see that at times with Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie Jackson's a little bit more polished as a point guard at this young stage in his career.
Yep.
But sometimes his mentality switches to where he's like, I've got to do this all by myself. Hey, are you forgetting you've got a guy who leads the league in double-doubles? And granted, I thought he played really soft yesterday. Andre Drummond, I thought, showed up and just played soft. If he can sit there and dial it up a little bit more, I think they have a better shot to do more and get further along in the series. But you got a guy who leads the league in double-doubles. You got a guy in KCP who can sit there and just hit daggers all over the court.
Yep.
You've got a guy in Marcus Morris who, a revelation, I would say. He's a stopper on the defensive side of the ball, and the guy can sit there and hit three-pointers. He's a big man who can do that. He plays that stretch four really well. You got Toby Harris who, that was the steal of the century, we all said.
Right.
You got pieces. Utilize your pieces. Put them in good positions to do things. That's your job as the point guard. Your job is to facilitate the ball and set these guys up, not to sit there and make your own shots, not for you to win the game by yourself.
You're not going to.
Honestly, if you look at that Villanova basketball game against North Carolina, the way the point guard, when he dribbles the ball up, I can't pronounce his name to save my life, but he dribbles the ball up and he makes the correct move. He had the option to shoot, but he made the right move by dribbling the ball up and basically dumping it off behind him and having the basket go in. And if Reggie Jackson can sit there and get out of that hero ball mentality and sit there and try to facilitate and set these guys up a little bit more, this team's going to go a whole lot further. That's what really frustrated me about that those final 5 minutes of that game. I was just screaming at my TV, like, come on, get out of your own way.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy series for the Cavs. I think they recognize it. The thing I really liked watching that broadcast yesterday was they mic'd up Stan Van Gundy during the timeouts.
He's so much fun to watch.
He's so much fun to watch. And as a player, I'm sure. I mean, I know the guys like playing.
You've got to
for him
love
because
playing for that guy.
He's like, we're right where we want them to be. We're right in it. They're not going to out-tough us. They may be better, as more. No, they're not going to out-tough us. Like, those are types of things that when you're out there and you're playing the King and the King's team, and this is the overwhelming favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference. You can't back down.
Yep.
And they showed that they weren't going to back down from a challenge. I really enjoyed that part of yesterday's game. A lot of,
I love when they sat there and they went to the between the first and the second quarter interview with him, and he was sitting there talking about how the refs aren't calling anything on LeBron. Because LeBron should have had 2 early fouls in that first quarter and should have probably been sitting all of that first quarter. But he gets away with what he's going to get away with, and Stan Van Gundy does a good job. Guys, look, I know you're upset. I know you're frustrated by this. But this is the cards that are dealt. You have to play with these, and you got to make the best out of it.
Yeah.
So here you've got chicken. You know what? Now make some chicken salad.
Right.
Let's go.
Exactly. I think we really have a good opportunity to see if that fight is the same. Because if you play a team like the Cavs, I mean, you got credit to Cavs' big three. I mean, Irving had a game-high 31. Kevin Love, 28. LeBron James, 22.
Yep.
Those 3 guys accounted for like 78% of the scoring for the Cavs. So you obviously got to there's going to be some, Stan Van Gundy's going to have to look at his lineup and say, okay, how can we cover Kevin Love a little bit better? Because Drummond not closing out on those threes. Kevin Love will kill you from deep if he gets hot like he did.
I think the ball movement Cleveland has is just fantastic.
But they've played together for so long.
No,
That's
I know.
No,
but I think you've got to find a way to.
So defensive.
I'm not defensive.
So defensive, gosh.
I think you've just got to find a way. A lot of the time, it looked like they were just running around out there.
Who?
The Pistons. They were chasing instead of. And I think they need
on
to find
defense,
a way
on
to
the
sound
defensive
it.
side. Well, that's because the ball movement for Cleveland has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not stepping into the passing lanes and they're allowing them. I remember one sequence that the Cavs probably had 8 passes in a row, and it was in the second half, and it was bing, 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 pass up shot, bing, 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 and then finally somebody canned it from the corner. After and I was marveling the ball movement. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. It's just quick around. The Pistons, that's when the Pistons were just running around chasing because they were just like, and then they made the 3, and it was like, oh, okay.
And there was an early effort set by Kyrie Irving and whatever Tyronn Lue set up for that team to get Kevin Love involved in that game. They were sitting there finding ways to get him open looks from 3 because they knew once they kind of got him going, it would open up everything else. Because, like you said, you start drawing Andre Drummond out of the middle, LeBron, Kyrie, J.R. Smith, everybody and their grandmother can hop on a unicycle and cut to the basket because there's nobody there blocking it up. So I think there was a concentrated effort to get Kevin Love involved early, and that kind of contributed throughout the entire game. It just kind of flowed throughout and it started happening organically where they would just come down and they would do this little pick and roll or they would do some type of a slashing move, and he would end up wide open on the wing for a 3-pointer, and he hits them. I mean, that was one of the things that made him great in college, one of the things that made him great in the pros when he played over in Minnesota.
I mean, this game comes down to the 4th quarter, though, and that's what you have to be most encouraged about. The Pistons, by no stretch of the imagination, should be closing against the Cleveland Cavaliers on their home court. LeBron has never lost a game 1 in his career in the postseason. So the fact that they were there, 16 lead changes, so they battled back. Every time they got down by 7, battled back. They took a 7-point lead. The Cavs battled back. And when you let a team battle back, that can deflate you and can defeat you in the way that you just give up and you say, oh, well, we had our chance. They never did that until, like I said, about 4 minutes left in the game when they couldn't finally battle back. No one expected them. But that, when we talk about the playoff experience that the team is gaining moving forward, not only in this season, but next year and the year after that. These guys, again, 20, 19, 21, 22, 23 years old, young group. That is the type of, Stan Van Gundy just has to point in there and go, hey, remember when you didn't close in the last 4 minutes? Don't do that again.
Yep.
Find a way. Get over the hump. Don't let them out tough you. Don't let them out rebound you. You know, these are intangibles down the stretch. The Cavs are, okay, I'm going to say this, and I don't want you guys to jump off a bridge when I say it. The Cavs are more talented than the Pistons.
Absolutely.
But the teamwork of the Pistons and the talent that they do have can match the Cavs.
Absolutely.
And that's why I believe that they'll win one of the next 2 games. I think it'll probably be Game 3, because I think the Palace will just be such a madhouse, and that them being home for the first time in 7 years, they'll feel that, and I think that they'll catch the Cavs, and the Cavs will regain themselves in Game 4. But I think that if they can realize, and they have realized, that if they can just finish, if you look at the box, 2 points in the end of the first quarter, down by 2. They take a 5-point lead into the break. They give back 3, so they're up 2 going into the fourth, and then they get outscored by 7, really about 12, because of the last couple of minutes we're at the point where inconsequential. But finish the game, and that's where you have to work. Work on finishing. Learn how to finish, because throughout the regular season they had a couple of games where they didn't finish, and it cost them some losses.
I had a couple buddies who totally lost it on Facebook last night after the game, just because they were really frustrated by everything that happened with LeBron and Kevin Love and Kyrie
LeBron
Irving.
James.
And the thing to remember, you just got to put this in perspective. Nobody's expecting the Pistons to win this series. Nobody is. And if you are, I'd like some of whatever you're smoking, 'cause I'm sure it's the good stuff. All right? But the key here is this team is building for the future. They are going to, you can see the roots and you can see the plants start to grow right now. You can see what Stan Van Gundy has cultivated with this team, and it's going to be good. You know, the fact that they are where they are right now, and they're going to give the Cavaliers fits all the way through this series. They're going to be a tough out for them. I don't expect them to win it, but I expect them to make it difficult on the Cavs, and I expect them to take a lot out of the Cavaliers, so when they go into the next round, they're not going to be at 100%. All right, and that's all you can ask of a young team right now. And then what you do is you build off that. It's like playing with Lego blocks. You just start building. Next thing you know, you've got a Lego castle. You know, and that's your palace, man.
I always did the medieval Legos growing up.
Yeah, those were fun.
The dragons and the horses, and yeah, that's what
I did the outer space ones.
Outer space ones.
In non-Pistons news, according to Kyle Meineke from MLive. Meineke?
It's not Meineke.
I'm
What are we
sorry.
going? What are we going to get? A new muffler?
Okay, Kyle Meineke. On the first day of off-season conditioning, Jim Caldwell has instructed players not to talk to reporters.
Yay! Dungeon of Doom!
So the Detroit Lions
Now,
season is off to a hot
You're
start.
part of that.
To be fair, my sources within the Lions organization pretty much told us not to show up today because there was going to be no availability.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read too much into it. I know Kyle is trying to do his job, but there is no media availability today. So if a reporter is walking from his office to the car and they're like, no, we're not talking to you today, I don't. Now, granted, the beat writers don't sit outside and wait for them to walk to their cars, but you know, I could see one of them saying, you know, hey, we're not talking today.
But then
the team is well within the right of saying you're not able to talk to our players today.
Here's Justin Rogers saying, just caught up with new Lions offensive lineman Jeff Schwartz, who said Lions' facility is among the best he's been around.
So that's what I'm saying. Don't take, like, Kyle's one of my really good colleague friends. I really do like him a lot. He's been on the Sports Cave before. He will be again. I'm not trying to downplay what his thing is, but you know, and I even retweeted his tweet and said, oh, because you know, it's basically, you know, it's yeah. Newcomers Jeff Schwartz and Jeremy Curley did make time to chat for a couple minutes about day one. Big ups to them. So. Look, I'm not going to read too much into it. They're available tomorrow. Actually, Bob Quinn is going to be available to the media tomorrow with Matthew Stafford.
How different is that? How different is that for you in the media and you having the availability that you have to be able to sit there and actually talk to the Lions GM? Because when Martin Mayhew was here, good God knowing where he was, you could put LoJack on him and still couldn't find him.
Thursday is good. I mean, it's good. Look, Quinn should be more transparent. That's one of the things that if he's changing the culture within the Lions, it should be the transparency. It should be, look, NFL teams by and large across the grid are closed up and they're very, very secretive and they kind of keep to themselves. That's not a Lions thing. Like don't make it seem like the Lions are the only franchise that are not letting their players talk to the media on Monday of the first workouts. Everywhere does it. Every team is the same, and some of them did talk. So who, it is what it is. Availability tomorrow with Stafford and with Quinn. Quinn's the guy you want to talk to right now. Who cares about where give me random player X is feeling on day 2 on April 17th. I don't care. You shouldn't care. He's not playing it down for another 6 months. Who cares?
6 months?
6 months away.
From what?
Football.
We're way less than 6 months away from football. We're like 4 months away from football.
9.
No.
What was this?
August 18th is around the time
right?
preseason
Yeah,
starts.
he's right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Max.
The season
You
will
know
start
how it
in the
is. He
first
has to
week
be
of
right.
That's right. That's
September.
right. He had to get his
has to be
shot.
right.
He just muted me.
I
You just muted me.
I turned off my mic.
And that's how you get Max to turn off his mic. You just tell him that he's wrong for calling you out on something that he was totally right about calling you out on, and he gets all pouty pants. Oh, Max, well, you're buddy.
Matt
He didn't
Derry-
show up.
Matt Derry is now tweeting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he didn't show up to my my championship hockey game a couple weeks ago.
No, the best.
Dungeon of Doom tweeted at us.
forgot
The show
about
is
it.
okay. Max is a hater. Yes, he is. Dungeon of Doom tweeting in. Oh, we're retweeting that one. Faux show. Hater. Dungeon of Doom. Lions stink anyways. Lance, thanks for tweeting in. Love the show. Do more of them. Adam speaks the truth, and Max is a hater. Ralph Holmes. Who can guard Love if not Drummond? That's a good question, Ralph. I think that what you have to do is you have to be creative, because you can't put a guy on him that's going to be too small where he can post him up, because he is a 5 who can play with his back to the basket, and he did that. But that's a lot of help defense and like teaching the fundamentals of help defense and helping off and doing different things. You can't switch too much, because then you're going to back him down. He's a matchup nightmare. I mean, Kevin Love has made his name in the NBA for being just that. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's a stretch 5, which is almost crazy to say because they don't really exist. But you can't take Drummond out of the game, because he has showed a lot of shot altering ability. Yesterday he had a couple of blocks and really had a presence in the paint. And once he got warmed up in there, so he's a tough guy. I mean, you're going to have to maybe think about Marcus Morris.
That's what I was going to say.
Marcus
Why
Morris
don't
is
you put
probably
Marcus Morris
is your. But then who do you put on LeBron James? And that's
Well, I think you put KCP on LeBron James, because I think he's probably your best defender, and he causes him fits when they do match up together.
And the thing about regarding LeBron James isn't like it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago. You don't have to be as big of a body as you did back then. Now you just need to be positionally sound and get back and have your body in front of LeBron. Look, LeBron's never going to get an offensive foul called. He's never going to get a travel called on him. It's just the way that the NBA works. It's a superstar. They baby their superstars. But KCP is going to always make him have the toughest shot. And I think that you're right. So you put KCP on him. Reggie stays on Kyrie. I think KCP moves over to LeBron. But then if Drummond is in the game and Marcus Morris is in the game, you have another problem, because then you're asking Drummond to. Drummond's defense is within the paint.
Yeah, I was going to say, as
And
we were talking
that's
about
the
this,
thing.
why don't you try to possibly do, and of course Stan Van Gundy knows more about basketball than I've ever read, seen, or thought about, or even played about. But why not do some type of a zone defense where you leave Drummond basically occupying the paint and guarding the basket, and then you sit there and you put everybody else on a man. Yes, one guy will be free, and that guy Andre Drummond will have to sit there and provide help defense to him.
Yeah.
Do something like that. That's the best way I can, in my mind, working through this live, I can think of trying to sit there and shut down that offense and mitigate what Kevin Love is doing out there.
Thanks for the question, Ralph. Very good. Malcolm Harbaugh. Nice. Was it a mistake to not let Stanley Johnson play more? He didn't seem overwhelmed by the moment. No, it was not a mistake to not let him play more, because that's kind of how they used him all season long. You're not going to have a guy that plays average 8 to 12 minutes a game play 20 in a playoff game. I mean, unless the guy's been completely on fire. But look, he's still a rookie. He's still learning. He's a liability defensively and somewhat offensively right now. And in that type of tight ball game, I don't think you lean on your rookie when you have other more experienced not playoff experience, but more experience in general playing the position. He did a really nice job in his spot duty. Look, his minutes should increase each game as they move forward, simply based upon you get a little taste, you get a little bit more, you get a little bit more, you get a little more, you get a little bit more. But don't expect Stanley Johnson to go out and put up 30 points and 12 boards and 4 assists. You know, I mean, he's just not that type of impact rookie in this system quite yet.
I like the fact that he grabbed 8 boards. I thought that was big. What I would like to see from this team as a whole, though, is I like to see them to sit there and clean up the offensive glass a little bit more. I think they had 5 offensive rebounds or 8 offensive rebounds in yesterday's game.
They're there.
And if you sit there, if you can win that battle, you're going to get secondary chances. And you get some putback baskets. I mean, they lost by 5. You get 3 putback baskets, you won that game. And I know you said it was closer to 12, but my point being made is the final score is what the final score is. You get a couple baskets here and there off the rebounds from the offensive glass. It's a little bit of a different game.
Ryan Hudson, last tweet of the day, Andre Drummond on the bench again late in games concerning. Well, until he can shoot free throws at a 50% clip or better, he's probably going to sit there.
That's where he's going to be.
You can't do anything with him out there because it becomes hack-a-drum, and you take the Pistons offense completely out of the game. If you're saying to me, we're going to let Andre Drummond shoot 10 free throws and he maybe will make 3, that's 5 possessions where the Pistons are only maybe getting 3 points. Hello, go on the other side, score on half of yours, 6-3. You do that over a 5-minute period of time, you get outscored 12-6. You're losing bad. So you can't have him in the game at that juncture. And Andre wants to be in there.
He didn't look very good yesterday. If you ask me, in my opinion, I didn't think he looked very good at all from Jump Street. There were times where he looked like he played a little bit big and he came down with a couple rebounds. But overall, I didn't think he played very well that entire game. I thought he looked soft down low. I thought Kevin Love took advantage of him. I thought his defense was porous, to say the least. So, yeah, he deserved to be sitting the last couple minutes of that game, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for the day. Thanks again for everybody. Questions, tweeting in. Sorry, the comment section didn't work. We'll make sure we look at that for next week for sure. But same time next week, 12:30. Hopefully, we're talking about a Wings Game 6 on Sunday night, and the Pistons will be playing.
We would be talking about a Wings Game 7 because Sunday night is.
We would be talking about the conclusion of a Wings Game 6.
I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying now.
You should have kept your mic off. Should have kept your mic. Trying to wrap up the show. Dungeon of Doom over here. Hater. Yeah, Max, you're a hater, dude.
Love it, Max.
Bye, Max. Can you have them turn off the webcast now? We're done.